Oh man, this means we get to talk about the 9/11 to 50 Shades of Grey pipeline before we do an MCR episode. Just
Wait,
kidding. We
there's
absolutely
there's
don't
a
need to talk
novella.
about that.
Okay, yeah,
Oh.
2020 is when Midnight Sun came out.
So basically yesterday.
Yeah. Did this come out pre-COVID or was it August 4th? No, Midnight Sun, the Edward centric one is actually important. I mean, I'm sure it's important to Twilight fans, but it's important to me because Motion City Soundtrack wrote a song for the Twilight movies that didn't get used, and Stephanie Meyer loved it so much that it was like an inspiration for that book, and she like finally released the song when the book was coming out.
That fucking rules. I love that.
Yeah. What is that song called? Crooked Ways. Yeah.
Nice. I had no idea that was a thing. That's so cool.
It's an incredible Motion City Soundtrack song. I mean, I guess it's probably like Even If It Kills Me era, because I think it was written for the first Twilight movie.
Man, Stephanie Meyer's got taste.
Surprisingly, yes. Welcome to Noise Floor, a podcast about music through the lens of our favorite artists' discographies. I'm Troy Sennett.
And I'm Matt Kistler.
And today we are talking about Paramore's third album, Brand New Eyes. This came out on September 29th, 2009, follow-up to their critically acclaimed, wildly popular sophomore album, Riot. I don't know if this is generally regarded as their best album, but it is in my opinion at least, it's kind of like a titanic masterpiece of pop rock. I don't know. So Matt, what do you think? Give me your high level thoughts on this album. That sounded very corporate. Just tell me what you think.
I love this album. I think I mentioned this last week. I have not listened to this front to back in a while, which is insane given how good it is. I remember hearing Ignorance for the first time and being like, "We are so back," and I was correct. And yeah, I remember loving this album when it dropped. I saw Paramore play with Reliant K and Fun at the Metro Center in Rockford I don't know if it was the tour immediately following the release of this album or if it was like the second leg of the tour, because obviously Rockford's not an A market. Sorry to all my family for saying that, but it's true. But revisiting this was a great time for me because I have, like many albums that I own on CD, I listened to this a lot in my car. And, you know, I don't have a lot of long car drives as a person who, well, didn't back in the day because I was usually just shuffling from like one end of the suburb I lived into the other or like rolling around campus or whatever. So I've listened to the first half of this album a lot and the last half of this album not quite as much. But man, the back half of this album goes so hard. Everyone knows, gonna get it out of the way now, All I Wanted, incredible closer, incredible song. Yeah, but everything between the only exception and that is also incredible, and I had maybe forgotten about that a little bit. And I'm really glad I got reminded of it. But yeah, high-level thoughts on this album. We'll talk about this a little more, I think, in the back half of the episode, but this feels kind of like the ultimate culmination of everything that Paramore's been doing up to this point, and I don't think that they could have made a better album that sounds like this. Like, from here, you just gotta take a different direction, I think. And maybe that's just hindsight.
No, I think you're right. Like, I think this is like a kind of the culmination of everything that this version of Paramore had worked towards. And I mean, tellingly, I guess this is the last album that this version of Paramore makes. They have, as always, tumultuous like member changes and behind the scenes stuff. But this is the last record they make with Josh Farro, kind of main co-writer of most of the songs with Haley. Did you watch the little making of featurette on this one?
Yeah, I did. Obviously, since it was an official release, it doesn't, I don't want to say it glosses over some of the drama, I guess. It very much explicitly talks about it. Like, I think it was Josh mentioned, maybe it was Zach, that like when they were like hearing the lyrics to these songs, they kind of were like, "Oh, we have stuff we need to talk about, don't we?" And
Yeah.
it's a lot.
Yeah, but yeah, so I mean, like they basically they're coming off of the final Riot tour, and they're, I think there's presumably a lot of pressure to kind of follow up that record, but they are also like they're like 18, 19 at this point. They're like, around the time of your life when you kind of the most growing and kind of like figuring out who you are, and most of their peers are like probably in college, and they're, I don't know, I get the impression from what they've explicitly said and kind of just watching those videos and the interviews and stuff like that they just like weren't friends anymore by that point. And that kind of like all, I think, kind of comes to a head as they're writing. They do, between those points, do the songs for Twilight, which are a huge deal for kind of their career. For fans seem to really like those songs. I don't really like either of them, Decode or I Caught Myself. To me, they're Paramore experimenting with like a modern rock, or like, kind of radio rock sound, like an Evanescence or something like that I just don't think they're that good at, and is just not what I want to hear from them. I think it's telling that there is nothing on the album that sounds like those two songs, and I think that's a good thing. I don't know, what do you think of the Twilight songs?
Yeah, I mean, Decode for sure, like, feels, and like just like sonically feels like, okay, we are writing a song for a movie about vampires. And I don't hate it. I'm not going to be going back to it a bunch. I kind of realized partway through that there was a reason that I didn't return to it a lot between when it was released and now. Like, obviously, it's pretty well put together, all told, but like, yeah, I don't know. I can't get with it as much as I can on, anything on this album. And I Caught Myself is, I think I just said in my notes, pretty solid, way more Paramore than Decode. But there is something about that intro that I like can't quite put my finger on. It reminds me of something very specific. We'll talk about something on the album that reminds me of something very specific that kind of blew my mind a little bit in retrospect. But I never figured it out between when I wrote that note and now, so maybe we'll never know.
Yeah. I guess the kind of interesting thing from a career perspective about the Twilight songs is one, Decode was produced by Rob Cavallo, and I Caught Myself was produced by Nick Raskulinecz, and I assume that that was kind of a auditioning producers to work on the album sort of situation. See who they vibed with, and who kind of fit their sound better and stuff like that. When presumably a large movie studio throws you some money to write songs for the record, or for the soundtrack, you can kind of do stuff like that. But obviously they go with Rob Cavallo for the album, who, I mean, most notably in this era is coming off of producing The Black Parade.
Yep.
And yeah, so that's, I imagine that was a factor in picking him. I would be shocked if they were not My Chemical Romance fans. But he also he does a lot of modern rock stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
He does a lot of modern rock. And like but the making of little documentary thing, they just seem like they had a great time with him. I mean, of course, it's going to spin it in a positive light, but no one seems to have anything bad to say about working with him. It seems like that they were able to like have a, it's like it's in his like home studio. It seemed like a really relaxed environment. And I think they also talk about in interviews how when they were doing pre-production and like weren't sure about if they were kind of on the right track with the writing and stuff, that he kind of visited their practice space and like set them right. And I don't know, I think it says a lot about him as a producer that he's able to kind of corral this band in a pretty challenging time in their careers. And like they talk about they wrote additional songs at the studio, and I think Looking Up was the last song they wrote for the record, which is kind of like it makes sense because this is like, oh, we've kind of figured it out by this point.
Yeah, totally. To the point of like Rob Cavallo being, maybe easy to work with. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say anything bad about that guy.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, some bands have spent, well, I say some bands, I think it might just be Green Day, have spent pretty much their entire career working with him, which says a lot, I'd say.
Yeah, he goes from this to the trio albums, which is not a great look, but
that's not his fault.
But his like engineer on Black Parade on this is Doug McKean, who then goes on to work with My Chemical Romance and Gerard Way as well. So like they seem to forge strong relationships with people.
Totally.
Yeah, I guess the other kind of like interesting thing is that Hayley talks about not necessarily having writer's block, but feeling like she was revealing too much in her lyrics, which is like, it seems like a surprising thing to struggle with but like, I get it, like, being cast into the public light and all of a sudden feeling like all of everything you've ever felt or whatever is under a microscope. I can imagine that being like a challenging thing.
Yeah, for sure. Especially since they were so plugged into their fan base. Like, we talked about this on the last episode, just like the whole live journal community around them. Like, they were seeing the things that people were saying about them, and I'm sure a lot of that felt weird at best, and downright horrifying at worst. But yeah, I can totally see where that would, put her in a place where she's like, I don't know how much of myself I want to present to the world at large. Obviously, like, anytime you're a songwriter, like, you're probably, unless you're of a certain variety of songwriter, you're going to be giving people glimpses in your life. And, when you are acutely aware of how people process that, like, that's gotta be tough.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we should jump into the album, unless you have any other.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So this starts off with Careful, just a rip-roaring opening track. That lead guitar part at the beginning of the song is just spectacular. I don't know. It starts the album off with this kind of like rousing call to action. It's a great opening track.
It really is. It's the best Paramore opener so far. I'll put it that way. This is such a rip roar of a song. The bass goes nuts in that second verse, and I love it so much. But yeah, I don't know. Like, just, I think everything about it just feels so like, so put together. Like that, even like the last note ring out on this song just like washes over you in this like really cool way that I don't think really happens on a lot of Paramore songs. But yeah, just an iconic opener. I feel like they've been kind of stepping towards like having the ultimate opening track, and I think they really kind of hit it here for, again, this iteration of the band.
Yeah, I agree. The other, I get kind of the most interesting thing to me about this song is it's the bridge line, "The truth never set me free," which apparently caused a lot of friction within the band. And I think you see this more and more in the documentary, where like Josh is leaning more on his faith, always talking about God and Jesus and stuff. And I think like that is like a kind of a twist of a Bible verse, that the truth will set you free. And I think that the Hayley's reckoning with her own faith is one of the kind of interesting through lines of the record. And I mean, just as like a thesis statement for the album, I think it's an album about perspective and about shifting perspectives as you grow, as your relationships change, as how you see your friends and your bandmates in different ways, like, change over time. And like, I think that's kind of the first seed of that is like the major theme of the record.
Yeah, for sure. I think Hayley mentioned that like explicitly in the kind of little documentary. I had, prior to seeing that, been thinking about it in the course of like we went through All We Know Is Falling, which is kind of an album about things happening to you, and then Riot is an album about kind of taking a little more control in your life, and you might call that fucking around. And this album is maybe a little bit about finding out.
I can go with that with that trajectory.
No, but I mean, there's still very much the theme of like kind of coming into yourself is especially prominent on this, and like the ways in which you handle the kind of person you are becoming, and like that line in particular hits real hard, even though like I'm not a person who comes from a particularly religious background. Like, yeah, that's coming from a person who has up to this point like made their kind of faith obvious in their music. Like it is kind of stunning to hear something like that come from Haley, and I can see after watching those interviews why that might cause a little bit of tension with people who are maybe less having a crisis of faith or having one in a very different way. Yeah, I don't know. Like, and there are other songs on this record that like address similar themes, maybe more explicitly, but maybe less about the faith of it all and more about the people who are involved in your interpretation of that faith.
Yeah, this is just the song that Josh called ungodly and is like leaving the band statement, which is very funny because I think it is quite far from that.
No, God, no, not even close.
Yeah. But yeah, then from that they go to Ignorance, which it was the lead single for this record. Just another like, what if we took everything that was good about Riot and played even harder, even faster, even louder. And then the fact that it's like explicitly a song about the tension in the band, I think makes it even more kind of palpable as they're getting into it.
Yeah, for sure. One of my notes on this song is just hell yeah. I don't remember what point I said that at, but it's probably very early in the song. But yeah, this is yet another like just all like everyone's all in on this song. I forget what song Zach was playing in the little docuseries where he was like he hurt himself and then had to go shoot hoops to get better or whatever.
It was this one.
It was this one. Okay, great. Then yes, that feels right. Yeah, like another of my notes is that the drums really stand out on this song in a way that they do on a lot. Like I really like Zach is truly a pretty exceptional drummer. And to say that the drums stand out on this song, I think says a lot. But yeah, I remember so distinctly like hearing this for the first time and like being so hyped about this album. And in times since, I have had similar experiences and been very disappointed. I'm glad that this was not one of those cases.
Yeah, it's I don't remember like specifically the first time I heard this song, but I remember it just playing a ton around that like late summer, fall of 2009. It's my like senior year of high school, so I'm like imprinting on every record that comes out that year.
Totally.
But the other like thing that the story that they tell in the documentary about the song, like the first time they rehearsed it and Haley was like mumbling through the lyrics because she was embarrassed about what she was writing about, and then Taylor like happened to be sitting next to her, saw the lyric book, or heard the lyrics, and he was like, "So you want to tell me about those lyrics?" And that was like what led to them like confronting all of the turmoil within the band.
Yeah. I'm glad it happened, I guess, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, it's all... in a way, like, the tension of this entire era of the band is all wrapped up in this song.
Yeah, for sure. And, like, it is funny that they, like, kind of... I obviously don't know who makes the... I shouldn't say obviously. I don't know who made the decisions on, like, what the direction of the music videos was going to be, but, like, man, this video is... I hope I'm not mixing them up because I kind of just watched all the videos from this album in a row. This one's the one where they are just in a too small of a room and Haley like just has or no, it's not that one. It's the one where they're
This is the one where she has the band in jail, right?
Yep, it has the band
like,
in jail.
Imprisoned.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Careful is the one with the light.
Yeah.
Then like come on.
Just all
the band members tied up.
Yeah, by that point they knew. Like they know that our fans all know what this is about and stuff. So like they're playing into it and in hopefully a healthy way at that point, but you know, maybe not.
Yeah, that who can say.
Yeah. So then after that is Playing God. And this song is a jam. It's so catchy. But the thing that stands out to me most about this song is that this is like ripped straight from Jimmy Eat World's Chase This Light.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, like,
oh yeah.
Maybe not literally like they stole a part from it, but just like the groove of it, the instrumentation, just the way Haley sings that chorus. And I mean, they're obviously huge Jimmy Eat World fans. They talk in the documentary about being on tour with Jimmy Eat World as the band was kind of like starting to fall apart in 2008.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think that's kind of the thing I hear most in this song, and just that it is so much fun to sing along to.
for sure. Yeah, the production on this song in particular is like very Jimmy Eat World. Like you get those like arpeggiated electric guitars, and then there's an acoustic in the background for texture, which is right out of the Jimmy Eat World playbook, and like many other bands. But it's what I associate with them in particular.
Yeah, that is all over Chase This Light, which I mean had come out like 2 years before this.
Yeah. I I love that we get maybe not the most aggro line in Paramore's catalog, but one of the more aggro lines about just breaking fingers, which is great.
Yeah.
I love that for everyone, especially given who that's directed at. I my note is literally break those fucking fingers, Haley. They deserve it. But yeah, this song also does that fun thing that I like, where there's just like a slight turn on a repeated line, and we do the like different turns on you won't believe me, or I know you won't believe me, you don't have to believe me, etc. And I just think that's super neat.
Switching up the chorus, yeah. I mean, and it's kind of it's the sort of inverse of the album being about shifting perspectives. This is about a person who won't. Which is kind of necessary to drive home the theme of the record. All right, next up is Brick by Boring Brick. This is the one that I just remember being, I don't know if, I think it probably, only exception charted higher than this, but this song I just remember being everywhere. I would see the music video all the time. It was the one, I made a joke in our text chat earlier today that this song has been stuck in my head for 15 years. That... God, the ba-da-ba, I'm not gonna sing it, but the bop 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 part in it is so good.
It is. And I was talking about the lyrics on the previous song being a little aggro. Those ba-da-bas are very angry towards the end, and I love it. Yeah, my first thing on this is I was reminded of a time in college where my friend put on a Spill Canvas song. And that Spill Canvas song does the same thing that the drums in the intro of this song do, where it's like eighth notes with the right hand on the snare and then accenting the 2 and the 4 on the snare, instead of using a hi-hat or the rim or whatever. And I think it was my friend Jericho was like, so you probably hate this, right, as a drummer? And I was like, no, I don't at all. And then like a couple of years later, this song comes out, and I'm like, yeah, no, this move still rules, actually.
I have to confess, I don't think I've ever heard a Spill Canvas song.
Yeah, you might dig them. I'm not sure. It's been a while since I've listened to them.
I like Dashboard Confessional a lot, so I feel like I'll either love Spill Canvas, or I will just and Bright Eyes. This is too much of a ripoff.
Fair.
I just knew them by like MySpace association.
Yeah, for sure. They were running in an adjacent scene, I would say, the more indie sphere of that group of people. The video for this is not available in any good quality on Paramore's official YouTube, which is a shame because it looks really bad as a result.
So many music videos are just like of this era are just like lost to time. They are only available in 16p or whatever. Like there's no the potato quality truly.
Yeah, like I pulled it up and I was like, I gotta hit the settings on this. There's gotta at least be 360p is as good as it gets. Great. Love that. Yeah. The one thing about this song is that it really, really kind of stretches the fairy tale like metaphor that they're going for the entire song, maybe to its like maximum. Like I always come into it thinking, this time I'm gonna not vibe with it, but I vibe with it every single time. So really, I put it just works. TM.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that's like we've talked a lot about on Haley's writing on the earlier records, is that it's simple but it's universal, and I think it's like earnestly felt and expressed, and that I think that's where the "it just works" comes from.
Yeah, for sure. And the Badat Baz also just get you every time.
All right, next up is "Turn It Off." This is a song that I in kind of like you, I hadn't like listened to this album in full super recently. Just completely kind of forgot that this song existed. And the lyrics in the first verse like really caught me. I think that is that is an expression of like struggling with faith that is I think kind of brave actually, and just the like particularly in light of being in a band with much more devout or very I don't know about more, but like, very devout bandmates and friends, and writing a line like I want to know what it's like to find perfection in the pride, to find nothing in the light. Like I don't know. I think that expressed something about my own like journey of faith or lack thereof in my youth that like is I don't know, that really really resonated with me. And also this chorus just rips. It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, my note on the chorus is so catchy. Yeah, that first verse is really really a lot. Especially, just kind of given the context around it for both Haley and, just with regards to the tensions in the band around, talking about that kind of thing in general. And frankly, like just generally speaking, like saying something like that is a tough thing to say in the context of being a person of faith most of your life, or I guess all of your life up to this point for her. Yeah, I really, this song is great. I had pretty much the exact same sentiment as you in that like I forgot about this song and it came on and I was like, oh, this rules. This is really good. This is the song where there's that arpeggiated like kind of sparkly guitar part. It is not exactly the same, but pretty close to exactly the same as Appointments by Julian Baker, and I can't shake that now. Even though obviously I wouldn't have realized that back then because that song didn't exist yet. But it's I can't not notice it now. It doesn't take away from the song at all. I just go, oh, nice. I love that song. I love this song too. But yeah, next time you listen to this song, just remember the first like 15 seconds of Appointments by Julian Baker, very similar.
I gotta listen to it back to back later. I did not hear that, but I also don't know that Julian Baker record as probably as much as well as you do.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, after that is The Only Exception. Just a absolute mega hit if you were attending high school dances at this time as I was. It's the kind of a love song, kind of the first love song. Is kind of explicitly about like after going through her parents' divorce and feeling like she'd never believe in love, and that she's finally in a place in her life when she can feel like she can write a love song and be honest about it. I think that it is weird to look at this song in retrospect after all that's come out about her relationship with Chad Gilbert, who she was dating and then goes on to marry shortly after this. But other than that, I think it's a really good song.
It's so everything that you need to know about the song is on its face, and yet it is great as a result. Like usually I want like a little more subtlety in songs, but like the fact that everything is just kind of laid out here is I think kind of what makes it special. Like you look back on the catalog so far, yeah, there are no love songs, at least not love songs about people. Like arguably My Heart is a love song, up to this point. Like Haley has very clearly had a we'll say cynical opinion about romantic love. And like that makes this song really stand out in the catalog. And I think it really works as a direct result of like coming out of this kind of history of not having this attitude towards love and like explicitly calling out within the first song that we get of this nature, hey, I never do this, but I'm doing this right now, and this is why.
Yeah, I just keep coming back to this as like this is a thing that almost any writer does this, and I roll my eyes, and yet she does it, and it works. I don't know if it's the vocal performance, if it's just that you can tell it's earnest. I don't know. I feel like we both keep saying that about these songs, and that is, I don't know. I'm sure it's not easy to do as a writer, but it's obvious that she's gotten very good at it by this point, and she's only 19 or whatever. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's a sauce here of some kind that I can't quite identify, but Haley has it, and that's, that's fine. I'm willing to just accept it.
Yep, me too. After that is Feeling Sorry. Sorry? How Canadian am I today? this kind of back into the more rocking part of the record. It's a deep cut, but this one really popped for me this time through the record. Very much a song about, like, I guess kind of catching up with your high school friends, and or maybe explicitly bassist Jeremy Davis, who they seem to have had more issues with at this point. I don't know. This song strikes me as like one of those songs that I feel like every Paramore record kind of has a song like this about how, like, it's a little bit biting back at people who think that they didn't work hard enough because or they got everything handed to them. And I think that this is one of those songs that's saying, like, no, we worked pretty hard, and we see a lot of our friends, our generation or whatever, that wants things handed to them and isn't gonna put in the work, but we actually did pay our dues. And so I think that's another one of those through lines in this band, that they are always wanting to make sure that they prove themselves.
Yeah, it is a very, like, biting song in that way, and but the more I think about it, the last bit of the chorus where where Haley explicitly says, "There's no need to apologize. I've got no time for feeling sorry." That almost feels like listen, you could turn it around anytime. Like, just do it. Which is a weird hopeful note within the song that I really like, and I hadn't really thought about it that way prior to, I guess, now this past week. It makes the song hit even more for me because, like, I see myself slunk into patterns of not doing anything, and I like the idea that I can pull myself out of it because I do it sometimes. That said, I was at no point going to be the bassist of Paramore, so the song isn't about me.
Yeah, I don't know that I have a ton more to say about this one, but I think you hit it.
Yeah, no, like, this song hit when I was younger, and it still hits now. Like, I specifically wrote that down because I remember distinctly, like, really feeling this one 15 plus years ago.
Yep. All right, next up is Looking Up. This is my favorite song on this album. This is it's so good. This is just like a straight up, like, bouncy, driving, energetic pop punk song about how great it is to be in Paramore when they're on top of the world. Which, I don't know, I love songs about being in a band, and this is one of the best ones. It has just an unbelievable chorus and an even more, like, unbelievably catchy, bouncy bridge. I like cannot keep my feet on the ground while I listen to the song.
Yeah, I legitimately half my notes on this song are just lyrics from the song in all caps. Although I do have, I can't believe we almost hung it up, and then in parentheses, everyone pogos, because that's what happens. Like, I legitimately had kind of forgotten about this song, and it hit like a ton of bricks when it came on this round of listens. Because it's like, I too love songs about being in a band and how rad it is to be in a band, especially if that band is Paramore. Like, I put that, like, this is one of the requisite songs about being in a band, but it's probably the best one so far, which is saying a lot given that Born for This exists. Like, it even tops that song in a lot of ways, which is wild.
Oh yeah. I like the moment in the documentary when they are writing this, and I think it's kind of like instructive as songwriting advice, where, like, they're working on the chorus and Zach chimes in and is like, whatever you're doing there feels like the second half of the chorus. It needs a different thing at the first half of the chorus, and that kind of, like, I feel like the best songwriting comes from listening to your instincts of being like, why does it feel like I'm not singing the right part of the song at this point? And then trying to figure that out. And then, of course, like, they're good at it, and so just, like, they try one more thing, and it's like, oh, that's the thing. It's right there.
Yep.
But and you hear it in the song, like, if they went with the original version of it, it wouldn't sound as good.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I think the other kind of lesson to draw from that is, like, just having a fresh set of ears to, point out something that may or may not be obvious to someone who's just been mired in a version of something for a really long time is always valuable.
As a drummer, you would advocate for that.
Well, listen, listen. I'm not saying that I'm the person to do it. I'm never the person to do it. But I'm saying if your drummer has good instincts, maybe run it by them.
Yeah. You got anything else on this song?
No, this song just rules, and I'm gonna listen to
great.
it again after we're done here.
All right, next up is Where the Lines Overlap. This is a song. This is a really good song. Another great chorus. Do you think this is more of a love song, or this is more of a resolution of the tensions in the band song?
I feel like this is the song that comes after Feeling Sorry and Looking Up. I think sorry, that I said that in the worst way possible. I feel like this is like the conclusion to that run of songs. So I would lean more the latter. I think that this is more about resolving tensions in the band. Like literally my note on this is this sounds obvious, but this feels like a follow-up to Looking Up and Feeling Sorry. The person being addressed seems like maybe it's the same person. I don't know. How do you feel about this one?
I very much lean towards this being a song about the rest of the band. And I think that that like the kind of realization of the chorus, the no one is as lucky as us, is again one of those like shift your perspective a little bit type of moments on the album. It kind of, when I was like skimming through the Genius annotations on this, I was kind of surprised to see that people seem to think this is just straight up like a song about Chad Gilbert, which is not the read that I had of it. I mean, I could be wrong, I don't know, but I think getting to the bridge, it culminates with another big like crowd moment. Like, if I sang this loud enough, you'd sing it back to me, which is kind of the cheesiest, but like again, it just kind of works way of doing crowd interaction in a song. I think it is another like song of appreciation for where the band is at, and it's a little more it spends a little more time acknowledging what they went through to get there than something like Looking Up does.
Yeah, hard agree. I legitimately, I did not look at the Genius annotations for this. I've never heard it as a song about Chad or anybody else who's a romantic partner. I guess I can kind of see it now that that's been presented to me, but I lean hard the other way.
Yeah, you could read it either way. It's not like, I don't think either one of those interpretations is like way off base. But yeah, just in terms of the themes of the record, I feel like it fits more as like a band, a song about the situation within the band.
Yeah, and especially given its placement after those two songs in particular.
Yeah. Next up is I think I lied. The songwriting thing is about the changing the chord progression in the choruses from that song, not from Looking Up.
Got it.
Yeah. But yeah, so after that is Misguided Ghosts, which is kind of the quiet acoustic song on the album. I think it's a very, very good song. Definitely kind of one of the darker moments on the record though.
Yeah, I like this song a lot. I think the kind of little build at the end that happens is just like really cool and well done. I like the lyrics on this a lot, even though it's a little bit of a departure from what the last couple songs have been doing. Like it's still definitely in line with the feel of the rest of the record in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think that's right on with this one. This one I think is a little more kind of explicitly about the band. I know that's just kind of my read on a lot of this record, both because that's what they say in the interviews, and also I don't know, I just think it's pretty clear.
Yeah, well, I mean, it makes a lot of sense, right? Like they released Riot, they toured the entire time between doing that and recording this album. Like they started writing this album while they were on the final leg of the Riot tour, if I remember correctly. So like that's what has happened to them between then and now, is being in a band together, being on a bus together, loving and hating each other in many and varied ways. Like,
yeah,
that it makes perfect sense to make an album that is mostly about your bandmates and how much they rule and or suck.
Yeah.
All
right, and last one is All I Wanted. Just a spectacular closing track. It's this song has the best vocal moment in the entire Paramore catalog, maybe.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Not to show our hand this early, but I think you're right.
I always love the band stops playing and the vocals have like just a moment, a measure or whatever alone, but that's like the best version of it, that it's so powerful.
It really is. I like, don't get it twisted, like the arrangement and instrumentation and like the performance of the instruments on this song is really great. Like at the end, the guitars like get so thick in a way that they don't through like the rest of the Paramore catalog, and it really works. But like that vocal performance, this is the one. This is the vocal performance from Hayley Williams. And like there are a lot of the ones, but like if I had to pick one, this is probably it.
Yeah, and it's like I don't know, it's they didn't play the song live for a long time, I think. If I'm remembering correctly, and they just started kind of playing it over the past couple years.
Yeah, I think they played it for the first time in a long time on this like the headlining tour that they did in
22 or something like that.
The one where they played the Chicago Theater and it was insanely expensive to go, so I didn't go.
Yeah.
I actually got to check that set list to see if they played it there, because yeah, they didn't play this at the show that I saw them play in 2010. They did play Decode though, as part of the encore. I really wish they'd swapped this one in. But yeah, I do need to see this song performed live before I kick it. So Hayley, play a show I can afford to go to. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
No, it'll happen. It'll happen.
Yeah, and I think this is just kind of puts one final kind of bow on the idea of like growth and perspective as a theme of this album. The idea that like, in that final verse, that's like I've grown up at this point enough to know that like I should have slowed down and appreciated things while they were happening.
Yeah, totally.
Which is, yeah, I mean, that's just all about when you get to a certain age, which I guess in this case is like still being a teenager. That you start feeling that more acutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ugh. Yeah, so that's the album. As I said early in this episode, this album is awesome. We'll see if it ends up being my favorite album as I revisit the rest of the catalog, but thus far, I think it is pretty clearly the Paramore at working at the highest level.
I'm not sure where I want to place it yet. We'll talk about this more next week, but I was not still on the Paramore train when Self-Titled came out. I took a long break between like hearing that album once back in 2013 and then like revisiting it later. But I also have very strong positive feelings about that album now, so I feel like we're gonna have an interesting ranking situation at the end of this all.
Yeah. So the other thing though that we should talk about is the Singles Club. So like
yes.
so this album comes out in 2009. In 2010, Josh and Zach leave the band. And so Paramore is a 3-piece. At one point enlisting Josh Freese to play drums for them.
Yep. Because of course.
And they do, yeah. And so in 2011, they do a series of 4 songs that are, one of them is Monsters, released on the Transformers soundtrack, and the other 3 are released as like one a month as part of a like fan club sort of thing. And they're all out there on like streaming now. But these are the first songs they wrote without Josh and Zach, and they are, I think they're kind of interesting, like to see the band exploring different avenues, how to write in a different configuration. And I don't love any of these songs. I don't think there's any of them that kind of reach the heights of the record. I think Hello Cold World is a pretty fun song. I really like how wordy and how much of like a bop it is. I don't know. What do you think of this set of songs?
I think my feelings are almost identical to yours. So like Monster and Renegade are both kind of like this version of the band trying to do what they think Paramore should sound like. And then Hello Cold World feels like they are trying to do something a little different. It feels like a step towards what they ultimately end up doing next with the self-titled album. I also like really love the kind of wordy there's almost too many words to fit in this in like any of the lines that are sung, at least towards the beginning of the song. And I've encountered a lot of songs where people do a very bad job of making that work, and it very much works on this track. I think the ending is just legitimately cool too.
It's great.
I like. It is funny that song does not have its own Wikipedia page, and all of the other songs on this Singles Club do. Kind of a bummer.
No, the comp for me is Motion City Soundtrack. Like, I think Justin Pierre is consistently great with those kind of like, there might be too many words in this line, but I'm going to squeeze them all in anyway, and it's still going to sound good against all reason.
Totally. I did find a neat tidbit about In the Morning too, which is they played the Fueled by Ramen 15th anniversary back in 2011, and they mashed that song up with Landslide, which makes perfect sense because that song sounds a lot like Landslide.
Okay, yeah, I gotta look. Is there a video of that out there somewhere that I can see, because I want to see that?
I need to go. I'm sure there is video. I did not actually watch it. I just pulled that from like somewhere on the internet, but I hope video exists because I would also love to see that.
Yeah, and I'm always like in the tank for a emo artist does a country song or country album or whatever, and this is a little bit of dipping into that realm too, which is good.
Yeah, totally.
That's kind of everything for this era of Paramore. I mean, this 10 out of 10 record for me, I think. I don't really have much fault to find with it.
Yeah, it's a legitimate no skip. Like no questions asked. I would feel bad listening to part of this album without listening to the rest, honestly.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just think it's. We talked about this a lot more on Riot, but I think I don't know. This is just they are still a band with a really strong artistic vision, and it comes through, I don't know, pretty perfectly on this one.
Yeah. I'm glad that this came through in the form that it did, even if it was, a bit of a therapy session for everyone. And honestly, that's probably for the best anyway.
Yeah. All right. Before we go, you got a random recommendation for this week?
Yeah, I kind of mentioned this already in the first round of this when I talked about another book, but I want to explicitly shout out Jeff Rickley's Someone Who Isn't Me. I'm most of the way done with that book now, and I was already vibing with it pretty hard, but I just got to a part that I almost broke down in a coffee shop while reading it, so that was cool. So yeah, really, really strong book. I imagine it will stick the landing. I'll report back if it doesn't, or I won't, because I would like everybody to give Jeff Rickley money, as evidenced by our entire first series here. I know you've read this one too, right, Troy? Like all the way through.
Yeah. So I was gonna ask, do you think that book is comprehensible to someone who's not a Thursday fan? Like, that's what I kept thinking about while reading it. I was like, I understand that, like, obviously the main audience for this book are people who know Jeff Rickley is, but if you come to this as like a book about experimental drug treatment and you don't know who Thursday is this like something that is, do you think it is interesting still?
Legitimately, a thought I have had while reading this book is I would really love to see what people who don't listen to Thursday think about this book. So I'm not sure. I think parts of it might be kind of inscrutable. Especially the like very autobiographical bits where we just get into like specifics about here's the dudes in the band and you know what they're like, right?
Yeah.
And, obviously the whole Martin Shkreli thing probably does come out of nowhere if you have no idea why that relationship exists. Yeah, I don't know that it'll land quite as well for non-Thursday fans, but I would love to hear what people think if they are coming at it from that angle.
I do like that he makes the joke pretty consistently that like, oh, everybody else in this band, like their names start with T and they all have like stereotypical white guy names or whatever. He keeps like, making a point of the fact that everybody gets them confused, which I think is kind of a nod to like, yeah, this isn't necessarily a book for Thursday obsessives. It's a book about a personal journey.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, that's what I got. What you got?
I'm going to shout out the new Jason Isbell solo song called Bury Me. Jason Isbell is, I think, kind of the best country artist out there right now. He's I mean, Southeastern is one of the best records of all time. But he's got a new solo record coming out in a couple months called Foxes in the Snow. He just put out the single Bury Me today. I don't know, it's a kind of beautiful solo acoustic country song. But the reason that I like it so much is there is a lyric in it that says "See the windmills turn up 55," which I have to imagine that he wrote while going to or leaving Bloomington, Normal, Illinois, the same stretch of road that inspired the theme song of this podcast. So I really liked that.
There's legitimately no way that it's not those windmills. I cannot possibly imagine another set of windmills along 55 that are that iconic.
Yeah, so that song is probably will be a special one for me, just specifically because of that. But yeah, that's my rec for the week. We'll be back next week talking about Paramore's self-titled album, which is a fun one, a big one, a very long album, 17 songs, I think.
Yeah, definitely gonna be a big episode on that front.
Or we break the format a little bit. We'll see.
We'll see. If you have favorite songs, well, don't let us know because we won't get them by the time we record that.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Yep. See you next week.
See y'all next week.